Are we dancing? I'm like, yes, this is our moment. This is our moment. Hello, 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 everyone. First, let me just say I love Drake and I love Elyse, so we're about to have a really good time. Thank you, Charles. I am really proud of the work my team does with creators to influence culture, drive connections, and get brands talked about. So naturally, I have a lot of love for both reels and creators, especially the one that we're talking to today. Elyse is a writer, comedian, who achieved mainstream recognition as a digital content creator. On Instagram, she's an expert at creating reels, as well as a key collaborator for many of the brands in this room. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Elyse Myers. How you feeling?
I'm so much more nervous than I expected to be.
What?
I mean, I feel awesome. It's good.
Yeah. It's all good. I got butterflies too. I'm like, oh
I'm
God.
so glad. Well, you look incredible, so you're killing it. Yeah.
I'm wearing official.
Yeah, I
Elyse
really
Myers
like your
merch.
shirt. That's crazy.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Feel nervous. Okay. So we actually sat down a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
To just talk about like some of the work you're doing. So before we get into this great discussion, I want to take a second and look what you shared.
Okay.
All right, cool.
My name is Elyse Myers, and I got into content creation completely by accident.
100 hard-shell tacos, thank you.
It started really simply, just me telling stories to my phone, and it's grown so much. A huge benefit of using Reels is the community that I can build on those platforms, the comments, and like that's where a lot of the community ends up happening. That's a whole different dimension to the content that you don't get in other places, and it makes it very personal. It feels like you've invited someone like into your home, you've told them a story, and now you can have a conversation about it. I personally don't think that there's anything more engaging than watching somebody be exactly who they are and sharing that with the world. Elyse Myers, take 227.
I love that. That's my favorite part. Thank you. So we heard some really great themes in the video. You mentioned Reels, of course, but you also mentioned community, authenticity, and storytelling. And you're one of the best at storytelling. Let's talk about the community you've built. It may be true that you started your career as a creator on TikTok, but you've since grown your community to nearly 3 million on Instagram alone. Yeah. In the video, you mentioned that the engagement you get on Instagram is a major benefit, right? Yeah. We talked about that last week. Can you elaborate on the type of engagement you get on IG versus other platforms and why it's so important as a creator?
Yeah, I think that kind of what was said earlier, like people come to watch Reels to respond to them. It genuinely feels like people want to have a conversation with you when you post a video, when you share a story, and like the conversations that happen in the comments, and then sharing your like my story that I told on their story, and then it creates this like call and response moment where they then share their story because of the story I shared. Like it is just this like whole ecosystem of like connection that I just can't really find anywhere else, and it feels so authentic and like so tangible. Like I genuinely feel like it is a community of however many 2.8 or whatever the million people that like watch my content that feel like they know me, and I feel like I know them because they share their stories. Like it's a very authentic kind of response that is created from the stories that I share.
I love that. So I just want to make sure everyone in the room heard that you can't find anywhere else. Okay, so just want to make sure everyone
underline
heard that. We all love how relatable your content is. I mean, you're basically the internet's best friend. I mean, like seriously. What is it about your style of content that draws people in?
I think that people love the like part of it, just like the visual aspect of it. I think that people enjoy having something to look at while a story is happening. I think that people enjoy feeling like they see somebody that they recognize of themselves on a screen is, I think, really powerful for people. And I think that how easy it is to make content at home by myself allows me the opportunity to let people into my life in that way, because like the app is so easy to use. Reels is so accessible to everybody. It immediately takes down a lot of the barriers that were there before to see yourself in people online. And that's, I think, why people connect so much to it.
Yeah. I want to take you back to a video you posted about the Ninja Vita machine you bought. God. And I just want to know, like, did you ever make a smoothie? Did you end up making a smoothie?
Wait, which one?
It was the Ninja Vitamix, and you were like, how do I get this to work? And you were trying to get it to start. And you were trying
the creamy.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I got it to work. It was amazing. I just decided I was lazy and was like, you know what I can do is just put like a normal protein shake in here, and it's gonna be great. And it wasn't great. And that was me. That was my fault. But I actually got the machine to work.
I kept watching it rewind, like going back, and I'm like, wait, did she? So at the end, that was the creamy stuff at the end.
Oh, it was, I did a little like Dairy Queen moment where I just like threw it. Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. Okay. Once you have their attention, what is your secret for turning that attention into action? Like, is there something that you're doing, or have you just figured out a formula that works for you?
Man, I wish I had like a formula because it'd be so much easier to be like, here it is. But I genuinely just think that if I stay really close in the comments, if I really like my three goals every single time I make a video is to make someone feel like they are known, loved, and like they belong. And if I can hit on all of them, awesome. If I hit on one of them, awesome. But those three values, I filter every single piece of content I put out, whether it's a story, a comment, a reel. And I think that is what kind of allows people to feel like they want to be a part of what I post. And so it's less like a call to action at the end, or it's less about the caption. It's just, I want to tell a story that makes people feel like, oh my God, that's me. And that's kind of my goal.
That is one thing that I thought, like, when we were first talking about, we were going to do this meeting, and I think the authenticity of who you are is like that connection, that when you just said belonging, I'm like, yeah, people feel like I belong here. This space is for me. Her content is for me, and I can relate to it. So I love that. So how do you find inspiration in keeping up with creative trends? Like, what are some of the things that you do or you look for?
Oh God. I don't keep up with it.
Okay, yeah, I love it.
I think that the more I try and keep up with like the trending stuff, the less I feel like I get to share of myself, because I feel like I'm trying to do something I've seen and like replicate it. And I think that that's like not the answer you want right now, but I'm like, I almost block it out. I'm so sorry. But I think that as much as I can focus on my style and what I love to do, I think that kind of keeps me like inspired. I live a very normal life with like a child and a husband, and I participate in my life to the point where my stories kind of write themselves, and then I end up sharing those. But I am so bad at keeping up with actual trends.
Well, no, I thought you were definitely like on. I saw you were doing the maternity pants. You were stitching up some maternity pants recently.
Yeah, I just cut them.
Well, and I just thought with the teens, sustainable fashion is a big thing.
Yeah.
And I said, you're on trend.
There we go.
So I was loving that. I always tell my team, I am the trend.
Yeah, that's it.
See?
I am the trend.
And then what do you say to that? How do you respond to that?
The trend.
Right? Okay, so you're an amazing storyteller, but an expert reel storyteller. Why are you so leaned into this particular format? You talked a little bit about it earlier, but like when you're looking at reels, and you've like I said, blown up 3 million like on Instagram. Why do you think that works? The format works?
Honestly, like I said before, it's the engagement that happens in the conversations that happen in the comments. It's like the ability to respond immediately, the ability to edit in app, and like the emojis and the stickers and all of that. Like, it just allows people the opportunity to just respond really authentically in the comments. And then also I love it, the comments like aren't limited. And so you can just have this like brick of text, and it's like, I don't feel like I have to limit it to like 160 characters. And I'm like really anxious every time I try and formulate a really small comment. So people can like actually tell their stories. And then you just see people responding to each other that it's nothing to do with me. And I'm like, the number one thing that people have said that follow me is like I have never been afraid to open the comments in your videos ever, and that is not a normal response for some people. And like, it's really, really cool that people feel really comfortable having conversations. And so, as much as I can do to foster that, I will. But honestly, the platform does it for me because it allows enough space for people to feel like they can give information and connect.
Well, I'm going to say it's a reflection of the creator, because you created a safe space, and I mean, you don't see that all the time.
Thanks.
So I just, definitely. So you've had the opportunity, we have so many brands here today, the opportunity to collaborate with a number of well-known brands from Domino's. I love Domino's. I'm from Kentucky. Love me some Domino's. Priceline. What are the top 1 to 2 things you think makes for a successful creator brand collaboration?
I could talk about this all day. Do we have like one whole hour? Yes. Oh my God. I think that number one, like a given, the creator should have a genuine like interest in the brand. And I think that it should be a very automatic response of like, hey, do you want to work with us? Yes, I already am using your product or love your brand. So that real interest matters because people can tell right away whether you are just doing this to sell a product or whether you are doing it because you're like, hey, I love this thing so much. I want to make your life better by you coming along and like using this or like knowing this brand with me. So that genuine like use and interest is important. But number two, working with a brand that like allows a creator to be as creative as possible and to work within their style and like trust that like if you are coming to me as a brand, you trust me wholeheartedly. You trust that I know my audience. You trust that I care for my community and that I want to increase the value of their life. And also I want your campaign to be a success. And like, if that trust is there before the creative is ever like created and approved upon, then like that's a successful partnership. And then for the brand to say like, this might not have been the way that we do it, but I want you to do it the way you do it because that's why we want to work with you. That is like so valuable. And the most successful partnerships that I have had have been from brands that are like, you know what, do it. Like this, you have the creative control. And it's really powerful when that trust is there and it really works.
No, I really love what you're saying. I think prior to coming to Instagram, you know, you come up with a marketing campaign and you try to plot in a creator or plot in someone. Yeah. And, you know, as soon as I joined the company, it was really like, how do we collaborate? How do we make it more authentic? Totally. How do we, because then what's the point? Right. Like if it's not going to be, you can feel it. And I think like, you know, when I look at your audience, they can feel that connection. Yeah. So it makes it so real. But thanks for sharing that. Yeah. This has been, I mean, it feels like we should keep going, right?
I know. How much have we got?
Like, wait, what? No, this has been, you know, fun conversation. But I have one more question before we wrap. And you know, listen, I just want to tell you, like, I don't absolutely not want this to end. Sorry, it was a plug, her merch plug. Sorry, guys, I was trying to get it in there. So the question is, what's the one thing you like to share with brands and agencies about how to best? Oh, we just partnered with Creative. Well, we just talked about that. Yeah. But so I'm going to pass that one. But what I do want to ask you is, who are you following? Who's a creative that you're following?
I'm going to give you two because I've like tried to decide on one and I could not. So it's two. One is Elyse Guilfoyle. I don't know if anyone follows her in this room. She's a comedian. It's another Elyse. Like Elyse's are just funny. It's fine. But her name's Elyse Guilfoyle, and she is like an actor and a comedian, and she is chef's kiss, like so good. And then Jordan Ramsey is a chef. I don't know if anyone follows her. She's Jamaican, and she makes like the most incredible food. And I stay up. She has like recipes she sells, and me and my husband have like bought her like spicy chicken, like tender recipes, and I'm like trying to make them, and I can't because she's like a whole professional chef at 19 years old. Wow. So Jordan Ramsey and Elyse Guilfoyle are like two incredible follows.
Well, their followership just went up.
Great. I hope for that all the time.
Well, Elyse, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Guys, please follow. If you're not following Elyse, please follow her. She is amazing.
Thank you.
All
Great.
Right,
thank you.